guys, I thought it would be nice to sit down and go over a few ways that you could be working towards growing in self-worth, self-value, self-respect this coming new year. I've had several conversations in the last decade or so that stick out in my memory of people making comments like, you have too much self-respect for that. And they've stuck with me because I haven't explored what the person meant when they said that to me, but it stood out as, what are they talking about? What do they mean by that? And very recently I had someone ask me, do you think I'm lacking self-respect? And they shared a few scenarios with me, and I was able to chat with them about it. And so I got my wheels turning that I should do a video about what it means to have self-respect and self-value and self-worth. And of course, there's a foundation for where this self-worth begins, and then it grows and goes from there, right? I think it's kind of a no-brainer that our value and our worth is in having been made in the image of God. The God of the universe created man in his own image. Already that puts value and worth on every single human being on the planet. And life is valuable. But who we become can be shaped by our surroundings, by our culture, by all the things we hear and see in our life. And then even on our own personal opinions of what is valuable, what's not valuable. So I think it's very fascinating to reflect on these things. How have I been shaped? What have I been told? What did I buy into as a young person that I agreed with and categorized as valuable and good? How did I aspire to grow in those areas and be those things? What did I not like? And how did I avoid those things? And why did I avoid those things? And why don't I like those things? And you can reflect on these things as an individual and really think about it. Another thing that these thoughts might bring out is coming to terms with the fact that maybe you are not where you want to be in certain areas. And I think it's a good pain to be really, really brutally honest with yourself. Do you struggle with envy? Do you struggle with covetousness or revengeful thoughts? Or are you a critical, judgmental person that brings everybody down? Do you make people feel crummy? Do you have a critical eye, always looking for fault in others? Like, be honest with yourself. Pay attention to what you're thinking and how you're feeling when you are with other people. Pay attention to how you think and feel towards situations in your life and what you want to do about them. And if it's ugly, be honest with yourself. Admit it to yourself. Face yourself and see how ugly it is. And that's when, of course, the next step is possible. You can grow from that. Just because you're a Christian does not mean you are a person that functions with self-respect and dignity and self-value. I think, unfortunately, the church has made a mess of how people should view themselves. I think in some ways they're right. Yes, we need to come to the end of ourselves and realize we need a savior. We cannot be righteous without Christ. Okay, then what? Grow in wisdom, right? Just be discipled. And that's where all the growth comes. But then there's another interesting part of it. There are plenty of non-believers that have respectable character, that are people of integrity. And there are tons of believers that have horrible character and no honor at all. So the Christianity part is not what makes you a person of good character, a person of wisdom, a person of good integrity and honor. It is growing in those areas, actively pursuing growth in those areas, growing in wisdom in the Lord, growing in being able to face yourself, be honest with yourself, live out the things that you hold as highly valuable and get rid of the things that you see as ugly and that you don't want in your life. And of course, the Lord helps you with all that, but it's not as cut and dry as I think Christianity, the church, religion, the systems, whatever you want to label it, try to paint it. It's more complex than that. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about how maybe you can grow this coming new year. So I wrote down notes throughout the week as they came to mind and just jotted them down. So I'm trying to be organized, but it might be a little bit not as organized as I would like, but it's okay. It's okay. There's grace. Maybe that's an area I can grow in. So I just asked, do you have self-worth? Do you have self-value? Do you have self-respect? This is of profound significance. There's a delicate interplay between internal strength and external challenges. So the challenges you face in life, you need to pay attention to, how am I thinking towards those challenges? And that's what you're after. You want to be genuine in how you face things. You can do the right thing on the outside, and that's great. That's step one. But how do you truly feel on the inside towards those challenges? Do you want to tell somebody off, or do you truly feel composed, patient, compassion, and Lord, you handle this situation? There is a difference between truly feeling that way and feeling like telling somebody off, but controlling your flesh and not telling them off, instead responding correctly. Both are good, but I'm after the first one, because I would rather truly feel composed in my heart and mind, not just on the outside, and truly not feel like telling somebody off and not just restrain from doing it. There's a difference. Do you see that difference? You're not just doing the right thing, you are the right thing. You're thinking the right way and feeling in your heart of hearts the right way. So that's where the true growth comes in. And that's what I think we all need to be working towards, actually being conformed to the image of Christ, not just doing the right thing on the outside, which again, I don't want to shoot down. Obviously, you got to do the right thing on the outside, but don't you want to actually feel the right thing on the inside also? That's the growth we're after. I want to talk about what it means for a woman or anyone to know your worth. Clearly, first, every human has worth. God said so. He made all man in his image, and he desires that all would come to know him. So we know we're worth a lot. But there's a great adversary. But there's a great adversary, and those are the lies we believe. These lies, they have the potential to truly ruin our thought life and our heart, who we are. And I think the lies come from all over the place, like I've said, but also internally. This is something else to recognize. Are you a person that talks down to themselves in your mind? I know a lot of people struggle with that, and it is something you need to identify and pluck out and replace with truth and good. There's a difference between acknowledging, man, I fail in this area, and beating yourself up for it, right? You want to treat yourself with love and kindness and grace. I can acknowledge my failures, my faults, my slip-ups, but they don't define me, and they will not ruin me. You grow from identifying your faults and your failures. I'm assuming that my audience knows and loves Jesus, and you're made in God's image, and know that your value already lies in the fact that we are made in God's image, and that Jesus came to die for us, and he said he did because he loves us all. But I fear as Christians, we stop there and we forget the depth of this topic and what it actually has. So many women need fleshed out in order to grow and have a better understanding of your potential. So this is not about being arrogant or entitled. It's not about having self-love in a shallow way. I think for some reason, Christianity tries to make all those things look bad and negative, but I think they're wrong. There is a balance, and it is real. If you don't treat yourself with grace and love, you can destroy yourself. And if you don't see your worth and value, you can't live up to your full potential. So let's stop calling everything bad and actually consider that there is some value here and there is some growth to be had here. So don't be scared. We have the Lord. And now, what did he intend for us to become with the wisdom he's given us? What does it mean to be conformed to the image of Christ, if not to grow in your character, your honor, your integrity, your genuine love for others, your genuine compassion for others, coming from your heart for real, not just doing the right thing on the outside? And don't forget, you must recognize you are unique. And so we all have unique contributions to the world. A refusal to allow external forces to dictate your sense of self, which in this case, I'm kind of blaming like the whole system of the way the church and Christianity talk down on this kind of desire to grow. You have been made unique by God. You have something unique to offer to the world that nobody else has, and God can use it. And don't let external forces make you feel like you have to dictate your sense of self. You are not just fill in the blank. You are unique. God made you unique, and you need to find out how he wants you to use those gifts and those skills and those gifts to bless others. No one is immune to pain or to struggle. We need to embrace it, the journey of life, with resilience and clarity. We need to carry ourselves with confidence. We know we aren't perfect, but we can recognize our value anyway. Just because you're not perfect, don't let that take away the capacity to recognize your value. None of us are perfect, but we're all valuable. None of us are blameless, but we are all of worth. And so don't let those imperfections define you and destroy you. Use them to grow. Don't allow the media to mold and force you to conform to some ever-shifting ideal. This pressure can come from culture and even well-meaning voices that don't see individuality. You want to be unshaken by fleeting trends and shallow expectations. Your sense of self is grounded in something far more enduring. God made you to be and the way he can, and he will use you if you choose to let yourself have self-worth and respect. If you're always beating yourself down, calling yourself a worthless, wretched sinner, that lucky for you, God saved you, lucky for you, how can you grow with that mindset? How can you move in any direction other than stay flat or go lower with that mindset? You know, coming out of Calvinism, I was blind to all these messages that for some reason didn't affect me. Thank you, Lord. I never fell into feeling like a worthless piece of junk. But maybe because the way God made me, I'm more resilient to that kind of shame. But not everyone's like that. Some people are very sensitive to shame, and they feel it deeply, and they fall into shame, and they believe horrible things about themselves, and it defines them. And so I can't see how the church is helping people grow by just constantly telling them what horrible, wretched sinners they are. To recognize we fall short, we cannot be righteous without Jesus. We need a Savior. We have a God. He loves us. He sent a Savior. He loves us so much. We were valuable enough to him, worth enough to him to come save us. We're made in his image, and he gives us all unique, amazing giftings to use to bless others. That should make us excited to live for God, not feel like garbage. And this message, even though it went over my head and I missed it because for the way that I am, it didn't hurt me. It hurts others. It cripples others. It paralyzes others. And it makes people scared of hearing things like, you should treat yourself with love. You should have self-respect and self-dignity and value and worth. It makes people scared to think that because that message is counter to what the church is saying. And that is a mistake. That is an error, a blind spot. And we need to see it and fight against it because it is not true. It's not helpful to anybody. How can we form into women who know our worth? Self-reflection, like I kind of already said, it can be very painful to be very honest with yourself. Face yourself. Am I selfish? Am I lazy? Am I judgmental? Am I a liar? Am I so concerned about looking a certain way that I am shallow? And looking a certain way, not just physical, just the perception of others. Like, these are the things, look for them. Am I envious? Do I desire ill will towards anyone? These things, search your heart, search your mind. Do I do these things? Pluck those things out. None of those things are Christ-like. And aren't we supposed to be being conformed to the image of Christ? How are we being conformed to the image of Christ? Does it just happen magically by itself? I don't think so. I don't think so. That's another bad message the church gives. It just happens. No, you have to put forth work and effort and action also to change who you are. If you become a Christian, the way you respond to people isn't just going to magically change. The way you feel about people isn't just going to magically change. When you put on right thinking, then your mind is renewed and you are renewed. You are changed. You become different. You start to act different, respond different, think different because you are replacing lies with truth. Your mind is so unbelievably powerful. That's why Paul says, renewing your mind, think on what is true, pure, holy, whatever, noble, worthy of praise in Philippians 4:8. Do not think on things that are not true because they corrupt you from the inside out. You have to realize the power of the mind. Anything that's in your heart, the mouth speaks. If you fester things in your mind, eventually it's going to come out. It's going to manifest. And that's why we protect, above all things, the heart, for it is the wellspring of life. In Hebrew, heart, and in the New Testament, mind, is the similar concept. It's the inner man. Above all things, guard your heart, guard your mind, because it's the wellspring of life. Whatever's in it, swirling, unaddressed, it's eventually going to come out of you. And you need to guard that, whatever comes in. Abhor what is evil, hold fast to what is good. All these things work together to make you, to renew your mind and to make you grow in areas. But then there's even more to grow in, your character. We all have moments of doubts, despair, rejection, loss, but these should not define us. Use them as stepping stones for greater insight and strength. Worth is not diminished by your hardship, but instead it's forged in the fire of adversity. So there's scripture to back that up. When you go through trials and suffering, you come out growing in endurance and perseverance. It builds your faith. These are biblical concepts. These are universal truths. These don't just apply to Christians. These apply to people. It's the way things work. God designed it all. We just have a Christian worldview, and so we're going to kind of filter it all through scripture, but it doesn't become false out of scripture. It's still true for every person. Set boundaries. If you have self-value, self-worth, you will set boundaries. Time, energy, emotional resources, these are finite and they're precious. And you realize that when you have self-worth. Do not squander these things. Invest them in the pursuit of relationships and in your relationships, and recognize and give back. This is not being selfish. This is being wise. I think I was thinking about knowing how to say no when I wrote that. Learn how to say no. If something's going to interfere with your family, with your priorities, with special friendships, You are allowed to say no. Guard your time, your energy, and your emotional resources. They're finite, they're precious. Don't just spread yourself so thin that you have nothing to offer to the things that matter the most in your life. You're not being selfish when you say no. You are investing properly in the proper things, and everyone's going to have a different priority list. Preserve your integrity by being able to give to others with the energy and the time that you have, because you set boundaries, and don't lose yourself in the process. This is where balance comes in, you guys. You have to say no. Don't let guilt and fear cause you to say yes. No is not wrong. It's honest. And you are trying to have a successful, balanced life. Say no to opportunities that compromise your values. Just because it's a cool opportunity doesn't mean it's a good opportunity for you. It may not be. If it compromises your values, no. And that's okay. You're not rejecting yourself when you say no, you are affirming yourself. Engage with the world around you with compassion and empathy, understanding, not isolated. So when I say no to stuff, I don't mean isolate yourself. I mean pour your energy and your precious time into things that are valuable. Of course, you want to be in and engaged with the world. Use that energy for good. You shouldn't have to diminish others to elevate yourself. On the contrary, if you want to uphold those that are around you. So if you have self-value, if you have self-worth, you do not need to diminish the people around you in order to feel good about yourself. You want to lift them up. You are too confident to have to diminish people to feel better about yourself, right? That's not where your worth comes from. Your worth doesn't come from being better than somebody else. Your worth is not diminished by the success of others. It has nothing to do. Instead, seek to build and inspire others and to nurture out of the abundance of your own self-worth. You understand that you have flaws, weakness, but still you have an unshakable belief in your inherent value. And that's why you don't have to diminish others to feel good about yourself. Learn to silence the voices of doubt that seek to undermine you, internal and external. Go to the Lord. There are many times where we make ourselves doubt ourselves, we second guess ourselves, but then there's other voices too. I think that we can confidently go to the Lord and seek his will for our lives and be confident that he's not going to lead us astray. And we can be honest with ourselves if we're trying to do what we want to do and say that it's God, or if we're truly, truly, truly seeking God and listening for his true guidance. You don't need to feel like you need to explain yourself to anybody for your decisions to do things or not do things, because you have consulted with God. Learn to go to God. He knows what is right for you, even if everyone else says something different. Be courageous. It's easy to follow the path of others and the path that others expect you to follow. Don't be content with the easy path. I couldn't be. It would be easy to conform. It's easy to just do what everybody else is doing. It's easy to just avoid all discomfort and challenges. But no, I would so much rather walk in the way God has set for me to walk and face the challenges and grow from them than walk the easy path. Be willing to challenge yourself intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually to grow. To grow. We live in a time where, the laziness, it's very easy to be idle because we have so many things just that are easier in our day and age to accomplish. I would say fight against idleness. Fight against not feeding your mind, your body, your soul. Do things to grow intellectually. Learn, read, watch informative videos, listen to good podcasts, have great deep discussion with people, hear other perspectives. Don't be scared to be wrong. Don't be scared to hear other perspectives. Listen to others' thoughts and ideas and life stories. You grow so much from hearing other people. Emotionally, Face your emotions. Walk through them. Don't hide from them. Deal with them. Face them, walk through them. You're gonna have emotions. It's life. And you will grow from them if you do. If you don't run and hide or drown them away with some form of drug, entertainment, food, alcohol, whatever, fill in the blank. Emotions are part of life, and you can either grow from them, learn to deal with them, teach your kids how to deal with them, or hide from them and resolve nothing and grow not at all. And then, of course, spiritually, spend time with God, make time for God, read the word, pray, reflect on the areas you want to grow in your life. Don't measure your worth by external accomplishments. Who cares about that? Who cares about that? Who are you? On your deathbed, who cares what you did? Who are you? How did you show the world and the people in the world and in your life your love, your compassion, your kindness, your selflessness, your devotion? That's what lives on forever, not what you did, not what trophy you got, or how much money you had, or your success, your status. Of course, take pride in your accomplishments. I'm not saying not to work hard and be ambitious, but don't rely on them to validate your self-value. That's not who you are. You should remain in both triumph and failure. If you fail, you can still see your value and your worth and have respect for yourself because of who you are. If you succeed, praise the Lord, you're still you. Don't shrink in the face of competition or authority, but don't seek to dominate others either. There's this lack of intimidation when you know who you are. It doesn't matter what status this person has and what they did with their life. You know who you are, so you can stand firm. You don't need to shrink in the face of competition or authority. But also in your confidence, you also know you don't need to dominate others either. Let them be who they are and you be who you are, and be confident and satisfied in that. Your ambition should be a natural extension in your belief of your value and what you have to contribute to the world. Don't do it out of fear. Don't do it out of obligation. Don't do it out of need for validation. Do it because you know you have something to offer. You do. And so that's where your ambition and your natural extension of what you have to offer comes from. Continue to grow. Don't become complacent. Don't think, I've arrived. I don't have to do anything. No, still reflect. Still notice how you sound, how you think, how you feel, and tweak, work on those things. I don't like that. I want to change in that area. I like that person does. I want to grow in that area. I want to be this kind of person. I want to, some real life examples for me. In high school, unfortunately, I had some unkind people say some things to me, but honestly, even though they were unkind and mean and they could have done so much nicer job, I still, instead of fighting, I listened to what they said and considered it and made some decisions out of it. Once I had this girl talk to me and almost like put me in a trap to make me feel defensive. And so when I responded in defensiveness, she told the girl next to her, "You see?" And I was like, "What?" And she said, "Nothing, you're just such a defensive person." So that's so unloving that she would do that to me. She trapped me on purpose and then consulted with the girl next to her. But I didn't let it get me. I was like, I don't want to be a defensive person. So I stopped and I totally changed from that person telling me that. Then another time, somebody told me, every time you walk in a room, you just start yelling and you take all the attention. It's really annoying. And they were mean about it. But I was like, I need to consider what they're saying. Even though they're jerks, I'm not going to neglect what they're saying and just brush it off because they're rude. So I started to pay attention and they were right. Every time that the attention wasn't on me, I would start talking louder and louder or do something super wacky or loud and get all the attention on me. And I decided I don't want to be that kind of person. So I stopped. Those are not necessarily character flaws, but they're just traits that I didn't like and I didn't want to be. And so I stopped. This was years before I was a Christian. This is how I know that this doesn't just apply to faith and Christianity. Non-Christians can care about the way they interact with the world. And to think that only Christians can be moral or have good character or integrity or honor is really narrow focused, really narrow minded. You need to just be honest with yourself. People that are non-Christians can have exceptional character, and people that are Christians can have horrible integrity. It has nothing to do with faith, but I would say as a Christian, you should be pushing and fighting for growth more than a non-Christian. So, some thoughts there. We will change. Don't be fearful. It's necessary to change. It grows you. I've gone through some crazy changes in these last 5 years. And I mean, I know I've grown, but it's almost like this grieving pain to have to change. But it happens. It's part of life and you grow through it. And I'm not the same person, but I'm aware of the ways that I've changed. I'm aware of the tendencies that I have to go backwards, and I'm fighting against those because I don't want to go backwards. But they're there, and that change, the way life hits you, can make you either go backwards or forward. And I don't want to go backwards. So I don't ignore the temptation to go backwards because of the ways that I've changed. I see them, I stop them, and I move forward. And just one example, having people in my home. I feel like the betrayal I've been through in the last 3 years, I feel this guarded thing that's come over me of not wanting to let people in. And I can see it. I'm not okay with it. And I don't let myself act it out. I continue to be hospitable, invite people into my life, into my home, serve them, love them, bless them. But it's a real temptation. And I don't want to go backwards. I want to continue to be loving and gracious and host things out of genuine love and service to others. So that's one example. I'm sure there's more. Any woman is able to realize her value if she's willing to face her fears and doubts. If you're willing to sit down and see the ugly and face it and hate it and not deny it and accept that it's true. Yes, I am fill in the blank. A coward, a horrible friend, a liar, whatever. Fill in the blank. You can grow. You can grow if you're willing to do that. But if you avoid that, if you justify it, pretend it's not real, you will never grow. You're just going to go through the motions of life, following the easy road and being like everybody else. And if that's what you want, okay, but I can't settle for that. That is too little for me. I need a purposeful life. I can't live like that. So let's value each other, women. Let's celebrate our differences and our unique contributions, everything we have to offer. Let your presence, this is another bullet point, let your presence be a catalyst that inspires others to rise to their own potential. I hope and pray that my life makes others say, I want to be better. You know, I want to grow in that area. Am I perfect? No. Am I blameless? No. But I want to inspire others, to give others confidence to grow and be everything they can be. Others have done that for me. So I want that. I want to do that same thing for others. Even in that desire, though, I would say don't seek recognition. Just be natural in your actions. Draw your natural actions will draw others towards you because you are authentic and gracious. So I'm not saying, what can I do? I am just being myself. I am just growing. I am just living. And I hope and pray that my natural way of life will encourage and inspire others to rise to their own potential. And that's authentic. Unfortunately, though, when you're confident and self-assured, some people feel threatened. and they criticize you. But don't let that deter you. You keep on walking in the way that the Lord has set for you. You will bless some. Others who are more confident and more secure will be inspired by you, encouraged by you, and find ways to grow themselves because of the influence you are in their life. But those who are insecure and fragile will criticize you and feel threatened, and they will not grow. Hopefully, though, they still have hope. They'll come to realize that one day and grow with maybe somebody else that they can feel less threatened by. I don't know. But that would be a great thing for them to say, wait a minute, I'm going to be honest with myself. I feel threatened by this person because they're confident. That's a me problem, not a them problem. Wait a minute, I'm criticizing them. Why? Why am I criticizing them? Oh, because I'm insecure. That's a me problem. I'm criticizing them for nothing. I'm going to grow in this area. Like people can take those moments and grow from them, or just criticize and bash others because they feel insecure. This should not deter you if you are criticized, misunderstood, and you make others feel threatened, not intentionally at all. That they are not a reflection of your worth. It's their insecurities. Don't let the misunderstandings like that harden you. Instead, let it sharpen your clarity and strengthen your resolve. You just keep on pushing, okay? You keep on going, keeping on, because those obstacles are there no matter what. You can either let them make you stumble or just plow through them and keep going. You know your worth. You might walk a lonely path sometimes because the demand to conform will always be there. Are you willing to stand alone and not conform? I am. Oh, I am. And that may mean it's lonely. But what's more important? I mean, obviously, everybody's different. Some people's true answer will be, I would rather conform and not be alone than not conform and be alone. I will always choose the second one. I can't go against my, I don't know what it is. I cannot lie to myself. I guess that's what it is. I cannot go against my convictions. I cannot go against what I know I believe. And so to ignore it is so anti-me. I can't even function that way. So it's not like I'm rebellious, I'm not conforming, I'll be alone. It's not that. It's I can't conform. I'm like, there's no way I can go against what I know to be true or what I believe in. I just can't even do it. So it's not a rebellious thing. It is an incapable thing. And so I know that it's always choosing authenticity. That's what it is. I will always choose authenticity over acceptance. If me being authentic means I'm not accepted, then dang it, so be it. Oh well, what can I do? I cannot not be true to myself. And that is just the way it is. It has nothing to do with rebelliousness and unwillingness to conform because you're rebellious and proud. No, it has to do with I can't be inauthentic. I can't do it. It's like against my being. Integrity over convenience. You guys, if there is a value that surpasses them all to me, that I respect above all other values, all other virtues, it is integrity. Integrity is like top of the top of the top of the heap to me. To me, a person of integrity is so rare. I find it to be the most valuable virtue of all. And I don't know, I strive for it and always have my whole life. I have taught my children, drilled them with the Proverbs, integrity being the main message, to always do the right thing, no matter who is watching. Always, always, always. If you're alone, if you have 5 friends, if you have 50 friends, you do the right thing no matter what. No matter what. because you have to live with yourself. You have to lay down in your bed at night and think about who you are. And you want to be able to have sound, peaceful sleep. You want to know who you are. You want to know what you're made of and know that no one can make you compromise what you know is true. Integrity is beyond all virtues to me. You want to have purpose over popularity. I don't care about being popular. I could give two rips about being popular. In fact, when I was a kid in my first year in private school, I was in 6th grade, and this girl came up to me. She was like, Alana, I was like the new girl. Alana, Janina wants you to sit with them at lunch. And I was like, who's that? And she's like, the popular people want you to sit with them at lunch. And I was like, okay. So I sat with them at lunch, and they were the most boring people ever. Everybody's face was like this for some reason. I'm like, where am I? I don't like this group. Well, most of them were there because they get to be there. It's the popular group. Oh my goodness, you know? Well, then the next class, I met a friend who's still a friend today, and she was hilarious. And we laughed our heads off, and I had so much fun with her. And so I was hanging out with her on my 4th day of school. I'm like, I like this girl. And she introduced me to her friends because, again, I was the new girl. I didn't know anybody. So I was with her, and then I met her friends. And when that girl saw me hanging out with them, she came running to me and she was like, you can't hang out with them. And I was like, why? She goes, because they're not the cool kids. I was like, are you kidding? Do you think I care? They're fun. They're boring. They're laughing and smiling. They look miserable. I'm going to hang out with the not cool kids like I care. But that is my personality. Always has been. I'm not moved by status and you're so this and you're so that. I've seen money my whole life, and I've seen people try to buy love, and it is not effective on me. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. I care more about people and their heart, who they are, and how much fun we can have together. Don't be afraid to advocate for an unpopular view if you believe in it. You guys have seen me do that. I don't care. Your courage will inspire others to find their voice. I have to remind myself of that because there are some areas that I want to speak out in, and there's so many opposing voices that I'm not scared to speak out. I just feel like, do I want to invite this into my life? You know, do I really want to? And that's always the question for me. I know what I believe. I know what I want to say. I know what I want to stand for. But then the opposition feels like Goliath. And it's like, do I want to do this battle? Do I want to choose this battle? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes it's nah. But I know that when I have been flooded with people that have been inspired, and they have encouraged me, and they give me the strength to keep going. So it's really amazing the way that works. And I hope that my courage, your courage, will inspire others to find their voice, to find their purpose and strength to move forward in what they believe in, even if they stand alone. True courage is rooted in compassion and conviction. So if you're going to be brave, do it because you're doing it for the care of others and you deeply believe in what you're doing and why. New category, don't shy away from your complex emotions. Vulnerability is not weak. Feel deeply. Emotions will give you insight and you will grow. If you ignore or try to suppress your emotions, you will not grow. You have to explore. Why do I feel that way? What is causing that? Okay, why does that matter to me? What is the root of that? What is the reason for that? Examine yourself. Learn to understand yourself. Identify why you feel the way you feel about what you feel about. It will reveal things about your values and who you are, and it will help you pluck lies out and replace them with truth and find out what you need to grow in and find out your weaknesses that you can identify so you can grow in those too. It's a healthy thing. Don't be scared of your emotions. Don't suppress pain. Also, though, don't dwell in it. Don't just sit in your pain and fall into the depths of despair. Don't be scared of it, but don't dwell in it. Use pain as a catalyst for healing and transformation, for growth. Don't seek to control or diminish those around you. Lift them up. Help them see their value. To be truly respectful, self-respectful, self-dignity, self-worth, you don't need to squash the people around you to feel better about yourself. You don't need validation from the outside. You know your worth because God said. So now you can go and help other people see their value and their worth and lift them up. Celebrate other people's successes with no envy. Their success shouldn't threaten you. Their success shouldn't make you feel less than. Their success has everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. It's so funny to me. Like, what does somebody else's life have to do with you? Nothing. You focus on making your life what you want your life to be, being the person you want to be, and be happy for other people when they're succeeding in the things they're going after. That has nothing to do with you. It's two separate categories. Yay, you're doing it. I'm so happy for you. Now, what do I need to work on? Not because of them, but because you're focused on your life and yourself and your family, right? There is no scarcity of worth. Just because they succeeded doesn't mean now you, no. Don't live like that. Be genuinely happy for people. Not only is that a sign of self-worth, that you know it's an intrinsic self-worth, people will love you for that. You'll be one of those people that people love to share good news with and not feel threatened that you're going to envy them or be jealous of them or paint it in a bad light or go gossip about them. You're going to celebrate with them. You're going to rejoice with them. Don't you want to be that person that makes other people feel so blessed that they can come to you and celebrate the way God's blessing them with you? Or do you want to make them feel crummy for their celebration, or like they have to hide it? They can't tell anybody because everybody's the enemy. They're all going to be jealous of them. No, debunk that. Be that person that celebrates and rejoices with people because you are genuinely happy for them. You are so happy for them. Recognize the beauty and the strength in the people around you without feeling diminished by their accomplishments. Again, their accomplishments have nothing to do with you. All you need to worry about is celebrating with them. You're not immune to hardship, like I said before, but if you have learned to navigate those hardships with grace and strength, you can be a pillar of strength to the people in your life. You can bring stability to the people around you. It reminds me of like the overly emotional, destroyed on the bed all day mother. How are their children ever going to feel strength and stability? They won't. We need to be strong, people. Women, we need to be strong. We can't be so fragile that everything makes us crumble. Who are we? We are daughters of the living God, and we are gonna endure hardship in this life. Are we gonna let it defeat us, or are we gonna walk through it strong and courageous because the Lord goes with us wherever we go? I would say that's the picture we want to be. We want to be a pillar of strength for our children so that then they know how to navigate trials and hardship when it inevitably comes into their life, and they can be strong because they watched you be strong. You can be a pillar of strength to those in your life and bring stability. Your worth is not confined to your role or one single aspect of your identity. You are multifaceted, and you cannot reduce to a single label. Okay? Take that in. Yes, I am a wife. Yes, I am a mother. Yes, I homeschool. I love being a housewife. I find so much fulfillment in being those things. I'm a Christian. I follow Jesus. But I am Alana. I am who God made me. I am that. And the label is not who I am. I am me. And I know that sounds funny, but it's profound. Take it in. Choices. Do not act out of fear or desperation. Let God be your guide, and your values, your principles, let those be your guide. What do you value? Your principles in life. Let that be your guide. Not fear, pressure, God, your values, your principles, which I think my values and my principles are shaped by my relationship with God, my wisdom that I've attained from the Lord. Don't allow external pressures to dictate your choices. Failure is a part of life. Learn to grow through it. Don't be defined by your failure. If you have 800 successes, that's not who you are. If you have 800 failures, that's not who you are. You are who you are, whether you fail or succeed. But be shaped by, grow by the failures, and stay humble in the successes. Don't rush to reach others' expectations. Be timely. Move at your own pace, trusting yourself and God. I do not like to be controlled, you guys. Oh my word. It makes me move slower. If someone tries to control me, I will dictate when I do what I'm going to do. And of course, I care about people. I care about how people feel. I care about living up to what I say I'm going to do for people. But pressure from people to be a certain way or do a certain thing, never. I do not allow this is the way it's supposed to be. Oh, are my kids missing out on something? No, I already know the kind of life we want, and we're going to live it. Other people's decisions do not influence my decisions. I have a picture, a goal. I know where I'm going, and that's what I'm doing. It's going to look different than you. Fine. Your life's going to look different than mine. Fine. If I made a mistake, I'll own that too. But I don't let what everybody's doing make me do anything. I do what I think is best for me and my family. Your worth is not dependent on others' opinions. Allow feedback, of course, but don't let it dictate your value. We are not perfect. We are human. We have flaws. We have complexities. We will fail. Our worth is intrinsic and cannot be taken away by criticism. Your journey is not just about you, though. It's not just about us. As we grow, we also bless others, inspire others, encourage others. It is not just about us. So be a beacon of hope for those that are still growing. Knowing one's worth is not about achieving perfection. It's about embracing your unique qualities with your imperfections and seeing that is what makes you and everyone else valuable. Your sense of worth can become a guiding principle for your relationships. Cultivate relationships that are grounded in mutual respect, trust, and support. Goodness, I don't know what I wrote there. Your self and value, your respect comes out in your work. The way you work, your self-value and your respect should be exemplified in your work. If, this is another area, are you just not being a good worker? Are you lazy? Are you idle? Do you take care of yourself? Do you take care of your surroundings? Do Do you have pride in what you do with your things and your possessions and the way you work? If not, it's a reflection on your self-respect. A person that respects themselves is going to work in a respectful manner and have something to show for their work, right? You want people to say, this person respects themselves. They clean the toilet awesome. I'm serious. Self-respect translate into good work ethic, I think. Don't shy away from challenges. Take each task with determination and excellence, not perfection, but let your work be a reflection of your self-respect. Work unto the Lord. Another incredible biblical concept that is a universal law, just aiming towards working to God. But really, the reason why that's a universal law is because if you have any respect for yourself, your work's going to show it. And so if you're a Christian, work unto the Lord because you know what your value is, right? Dominating and competing is pointless. Instead, contribute meaningfully and lead with purpose. Your confidence is a deep understanding of your abilities. You should know this is what I'm capable of and be confident in it. It's okay to be confident. It is not arrogant or conceited or selfish. It's saying, you made me this way, Lord, and I'm going to use it. Like, why is that bad? There's nothing bad there. Our worth is not just a gift. It's a call to action. We need to use it to influence others. It's our responsibility. You have a gift from God. You are worth something. You have been given who you are. Use it. Use it. Don't let it be this wasted gift, right? Unafraid to stand against injustice because we have a deep belief that every human being is valuable. Worth does not equate to material possessions. Your true value is in your character and in your wisdom, in your heart, who you are, for goodness sake. That's why in Proverbs it says over and over and over, a good name is to be wanted more than riches. Like, who cares about gold and silver if you have a horrible reputation? Who cares? I would rather have good character, integrity, honor than riches. When I die, I don't want to be remembered for having bad character but being rich. Of course, it'd be nice to have good integrity and be rich, but the Proverbs don't offer that. They always contrast it. My son always says, like when it says, better a dry crumb with peace than a feast with strife. He's like, can we have peace and a feast? I'm like, yes. And last page of scribbles. Measure your worth by the influence and legacy you leave behind, not by your possessions and your wealth and your external achievements. I would so much rather be remembered as a devoted mother and wife that loved God and lived a purposeful life of godly character and integrity and honor, that I was honest and that I cared about people and I was fun and encouraged you and made you feel like you were capable of so many things. Then she was rich. She was this, she was that, some label, some trophy, some ribbon. Oh, please. She owned the biggest company. I mean, those are all cool. That's great. But man, I care so much more about the profound things of like who a person is than those achievements. And again, I am not saying that those achievements are bad. That's fine. You can use those things for good and you can be a good person and do those things. I'm just saying, if I had to pick between the two, I always would go with character. We are teachers, intentionally or unintentionally. I always talk about this for mothers. You're teaching your children to be complainers or lazy or anxious or gossipers or judgmental or cynical You're teaching them that, whether you realize it or not. Don't be those things. Recognize, I'm a cynic. Stop. I complain constantly. Stop. I huff and puff and whine. Stop. I rage. Stop. Recognize those things. Face them. I don't like that. Ew. Stop. Life is an example to follow, a roadmap for those learning for their own self-respect. I want my children to have self-respect. So I want to be the roadmap to that. Self-respect and self-love is not selfish. It's not self-exalting. You're not putting God down. If you love yourself and you respect yourself, I think it's necessary to grow. If you don't believe it, when God says you're of value and you're of worth, instead you want to say, no, I'm horrible. Well, you're not going to grow. You're just going to have a pity party for the rest of your life. No. God said, I'm valuable. I'm made in God's image. I'm a daughter of the living God. He loved me so much, he sent a savior. He loved me so much, he forgave me and gives me life. I have value. I have worth. I know it. Now I'm going to do something about it, right? We all stumble. We all doubt. We all fail. This is fuel to grow. Don't let it diminish your worth or define you. That's what the enemy wants. That's what your enemies, earthly and spiritual, want. For you to be defined by your failures, for you to feel defeated, for you to give up, for you to not grow at all. No. The principle of self-awareness, courage, integrity, these are universal. That's a universal principle. And the qualities everyone should strive to embody. You're valuable, you're unique, you have something to offer. Your worth is not something you earn. It's something that you have been given by God, and you need to embrace it. So, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun writing notes and trying to be organized. I hope that my intensity encourages and inspires you, and that this is a voice of hope as you enter this new year, that you can look at your faults, your failures, your weaknesses. You can be honest with yourself. You can face them, and you can say, I'm changing that. And you can grow. Grow. Where will you be today in a year? Let that inspire you to move forward. You have intrinsic self-worth, but you need to know that and believe that to do something about it. If you don't believe it, nothing's really going to change. God bless you guys, and see you next time.